All right, everybody. Arkansas gets the win. Let's get this thing started off. 3, 2. Oh, look at that. Look at that sexy banner. 1. Yo, what's going on, Arkansas Razorback fans? Welcome. Welcome to the first post-game show of the 2023 Razorback football season, and it's fantastic. It's that time of year. It's in the air. Even if you've got allergies, you could smell it. You could smell it, baby. It's in the air. Razorback football. College football's back. Thank God. The longest offseason of all time. Hope you guys, again, I hope you had a great week. Hope you had a good Friday yesterday. We're popping, baby. We're going. We're doing this. Trying to get this set up. I've been working on this setup for like 48 hours, trying to get this all just right. There will be some changes behind me. My wife said she didn't like any of this. I was like, oh, okay, so she's going to do something. We'll see. We'll see what she does back there. I mean, I don't know. I think that's not too bad. I got my Razorback. I got the Chrome Dome, the best alternative helmet the Razorbacks wear right there. That's it. I've got the Celtics banner. I'm a Celtics fan. You guys should know this. And I got the Razorback stuff. We're good to go. All right. Okay. This is the best post-game show that you're going to find on YouTube immediately following the game. And again, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you're new here, welcome. Welcome. I'm just a local guy trying to make it work, trying to do it. Shout out to small business owners. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot here. Listen, I'll say it's like 80% good, and then 20% not bad, but just like, okay, we got some work to do. Thank God you started off against Western Carolina. This is why I would advocate for preseason football and college football, and then go into, if you want to really do away with the whole 8 conference game scenario in the SEC, and you want to go to a 9-game format where you're playing SEC opponents, then I think the trade-off should be, and the SEC has this kind of power, let's do preseason football. But this is why you schedule games like this. So, wasn't too blown away by a couple of things, and again, we'll get into all that here in just a second. Again, if you guys, shout out to Patreon supporters, here in the next couple of days, we'll get our update on the new on what all happened with Patreon in the month of August. So I'll get that update here in just a few days, and we'll update that list. So if you moved up and you haven't seen your name moved up yet, that's why I'm waiting on Patreon to email me that list. Okay. Shout out to Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. You saw that little ad there at the beginning. That is my garage door. You're seeing that ad. They did that, and they were awesome. Their link is provided for you down below. They offer same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, you name it, they do it. And hundreds of 5-star reviews, including me. I gave them a 5-star review. Also, special shout-out to the Odd So Craft Bar and Pizzaria located on Emma Street in Springdale. Emma Street's like, I don't want to say it's nothing like Dixon Street, but it's like if Dixon Street, it's like Dixon Street's mother-in-law. It's like Dixon Street's mother-in-law. It's kind of that wild, kind of fun mother-in-law. You got the Mexican restaurants, right? You got the train that runs through there. Of course, you've got the Odd Soul, which is a staple on Emma and in Springdale. It's a quaint little road there. Not a lot of stuff to do there. There's some fun to be had there, but of course Dixon Street, we all knows where it's at too. Let's go, Ty. Bumbles bounce with the super chat. I appreciate you. Yeah, super chat is up. I don't have that little logo on the screen, but you know what? It's there. Oh boy, what'd you guys think? I'm trying to read your chat here. Tony Brown says good game. Okay, yeah. Listen, I don't know that I would say. I don't know. Maybe. Would you say it was great? I guess it depends on your depiction or your definition of great would be for a football game. Anytime you score, I mean, it felt like Arkansas was scoring at will. I think they scored on their first 3 of their first 4 drives to start this game off. You won by 46 points. I don't know what else. It wasn't perfect. I'm going to say it was a great game. I'm going to say it was a great game, but it wasn't perfect. It was like if greatness was like a meter, it would be like that first peg on the greatness scale. I don't know. I'm just making that up as I go. But it was a great game. You beat somebody by 46 points. Listen, there were games in the past where Arkansas played similar opponents, FCS, whatever, and struggled, or teams would come back. Missouri State comes to mind. I don't think these guys are anywhere near as good as Missouri State was at that time a year ago. Of course, we know Missouri State by Petrino would lose like the next 4 games or whatever, but I think it was a pretty good losing streak, so they weren't exactly great. So I don't know how we compare Western Carolina to Bobby Petrino's crew a year ago. But I will say, I think teams in the past, I don't know that the outcome would have been something like – you know what this reminded me of a little bit? What I saw on the field, really? 2021. I kept watching this. Now, obviously, 21, you had a much better rush attack. You could run the ball a little bit more effectively than what we saw today, for sure. But it had that feeling like Arkansas was just – it was just so obvious these guys, as it should be, it was so obvious these guys were going to get blown out, for me, from like the first quarter. I mean, Arkansas scored 21 points. I think it was 21 unanswered. And then eventually, of course, Western Carolina would get the would get a field goal to end the first quarter. So not really 21 unanswered, but you get what I'm saying. It was 21-3 in the first quarter. Like, I don't know that I ever really felt that way last year. Maybe a couple of times, but even, Cincinnati, of course, is a far better opponent. I get that. But it seemed like even Missouri State, I didn't know if Arkansas was that much better than their opponent. Now, and this is what's so difficult about these kind of games. It's hard to measure this versus other games because we really don't know anything about Western Carolina. Maybe they'll go on a win streak and be great. I mean, who would have thought in 2006 when USC walked into Fayetteville and beat the living shit out of Arkansas that then Arkansas would go on the tear and do what they did the rest of that season? Go read your histories, as all the OGs, all the people above the age of 60 like to say. Go read your histories. Go look at, if you've got a yearbook, just look it up online. Look what happened in 2006, and you got your ass whooped. You think USC fans thought Arkansas would go on a tear like they did in the SEC? So, I mean, who knows how good or bad. And again, we're comparing a really luscious, beautiful apple to a really gross-looking orange. I get it, but it's still, you just don't know week one. It's hard to measure. It's hard to really jot anything down and say, well, they're just going to be bad here the rest of the year in this area. Like the run game. Is today a reflection, or is it foreshadowing what we could see the rest of the year? I don't know. I will start off with I don't want to say red flags because that's not the right way I want to put it here. The things that certainly didn't come off to me as good was the run game. And in all honesty, it was atrocious. It was kind of gross. It was like and you have to give the Catamounts, you got to give WC, you got to give them the credit that they're owed here. They zeroed in on the run. I mean, it seemed like whether it was an outside zone or an ISO or just whatever, a straight up run right up between the left guard and the left center, whatever. They were there. Sideline throws or tossing the ball out into the flats to Rocket Sanders. Rocket Sanders had back-to-back negative plays. So it was very clear they wanted to win up front on the line of scrimmage, and that's just old school football. And you got to give them some credit for that. Arkansas kind of got smashed in the mouth in the interior, and some people were griping in Discord, well, I think they're trying to run outside too much. Are you kidding? They're looking for the weak link up front on the line of scrimmage. They're trying to find, where the hell am I going to run the ball and get any kind of positive yardage? Where am I going to go? What do we do? We tried up the gut. We tried ISO. We tried outside zone. What do we do? Now, I will agree. I thought maybe we should have seen more. Drop some more screens and draws, things like that. Would like to see just pure RPO. KJ keep the ball a little more. He only ran the ball 5 times for 11 yards, but he did have a score, which, by the way, we talked about this on the halftime show in Discord. I did a halftime Discord show. I may do more of those this year. I don't know. Sometimes those are hard to do because you have a very short window to do them. But Something I said was their first 2 rushing touchdowns. I don't know that you give the offensive line total credit there, right? That first rushing touchdown by Rocket, what happened? Rocket gets the ball, and it looked to me like a designed up-the-gut run. A designed north-south, just follow the lead blocker, or follow whoever's up front where the gap is between the left center and the left guard, the center and the left guard, and just take that lane. What did he do? He kicked out. Great vision, great play. I mean, that's like running back 101. Like, that's what you want to see. He kicks it out, and he scores with ease. Now, you can give the offensive line credit, but I think a lot of that was Western Carolina sold out to go to the interior. They knew that was coming. The other rushing touchdown, which was KJ Jefferson, clearly, I think here you could maybe give the offensive line credit. KJ, it looked to me like KJ at first wanted to hand the ball off to Rocket, but what did he do? He had to hang on to that ball for dear life because he saw a quick opening and he took it. I think Rocket, that might have just been straight up RPO. I don't know, but I caught I'm trying to manage what's going on in Discord. You guys know I've talked about this before. I've got a game on the TV here. I was watching a little bit of that Colorado game. That was wild. Colorado and TCU. I'm trying to keep up with Discord, and I'm trying to watch the game. But it looked to me like the half second that I got to see that was supposed to be a give, or KJ at the last second decided to keep it, and he scored. But you can tell he had to hang on for dear life trying to get that ball away. So it was just kind of like a thing that happened, and KJ made it happen because he's KJ. So the offensive line, we could talk about the rushing touchdowns. They had 3. You would think, they had 3 rushing touchdowns. They must have killed it up front. No, they didn't. Arkansas altogether, 36 carries for just 105 yards. Guys, that's just 3 yards a carry against Western Carolina. That is something I hope. They were without Brady Latham. I believe they were without Brady Latham. And it just didn't look like they were really on the same page when it came to run blocking. Now, pass blocking, that's a different story. I was actually pretty pleased. I think Western Carolina had 1 sack, and that was it. Arkansas did a fantastic job pass blocking. Hold on, did we get another super chat? We did. Farrell Hogman with a $10 super chat. I appreciate that. It was a very good game. Nice home win. We do need to work on run blocking. Always love the win. Thank you, Farrell. I appreciate that, sir. Mr. T-Dub with a $5 super chat. The O-line has me nervous. But I know 100% it will be corrected. Overall, great game. Man, the young guys looked awesome, didn't they, though? Appreciate you, Mr. T-Dub, as always, who's also a Patreon supporter as well. So is, I think, Farrell Hogman's. Look at you, Patreon supporters coming through with the super chats, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Absolutely, Pigpen. What did Pigpen have to say? What's up, Pigpen? How you doing, man? You can tell Enos and KJ put in some work this summer. I want to pin that. I want to pin that message. I like it. I like that. I saw it. I was there. I told you guys, man. I mean, his Kendall, who I had one fall camp with in regular season practice. That being my first exposure to college football, at that capacity, being there at practice, I just kind of thought, well, maybe this is normal. He's not a real hands-on offense coordinator or quarterback coach. And, there's some QB coaches who aren't. And they still have a good product on the field. By the way, Kendall Brow's 0-1. I'm not going to lie. I kind of enjoyed watching them lose. I'm sure a lot of you did too. But Dan Enos, or Enos, as they called him on the announcers called him Dan Enos. So I just want to call him Dan Enos from now on. But listen, I butcher names too. I get it, but that one got me. That was pretty funny. Hey, first time for that guy, right? But anyways, he was more hands-on in practice, way more hands-on. There was clearly a devotion from Enos to his quarterbacks to work on footwork. I uploaded a lot of footage from spring, going all the way back to spring this year to fall camp. There's been a lot of footage. That was definitely something that he was trying to ingrain into his quarterbacks, and it showed up. We saw it. I think we saw that today. I did think KJ, for the first, I would say, 16-ish throws. He looked pretty poised. Yeah, I mean, he started off 12 for 12. I thought he looked fantastic. It was really easy. How much of that, again, was the opponent? Yes, you have to measure that, or you have to weigh that. And how much of that was Western Carolina selling out for the run? Sure. But you could see the execution. You could see – it just felt to me like KJ was comfortable the entire time. KJ, I don't know, man. He just looked more poised. You could just kind of see it, which is not something I really expected to see considering it was game number 1. Fishman with the super chat. Okay, I have to admit, Dan Enos, you got to replace that O with a U now. Dan Enos has turned KJ into a better passer because I crapped on Enos in the offseason. I would say we have to pump the brakes just a little bit. Okay, let's see the first 3 games. Let's get penalties figured out. Let's get the run blocking figured out. And let's not dive all in. If you took this game and you go, oh, yeah, no, they're 10-2, worst case scenario, Ty. Hold on. Let's consider who you just played. But, again, I agree with you that I thought the execution for the most part was was pretty spot on. I'm not going to repeat that, Sean. I'm surprised that got through. Does anyone know what happened to let me pull that up. Hold on. You're talking about are you asking about Christopher Poo-Paul? So Poo-Paul, that was absolutely targeting. Yeah, Poo-Paul that was targeting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was clearly targeting. I hate to admit it, but it was. I don't know why he did it. He led with the crown of his helmet, guys. That's it. You know, we could sit here and talk about being biased all day long. I don't care. You got to call it what it was. That was absolutely targeting. I hope Quincy Rhodes there at the end was the one that got hurt. We were all trying to figure out who that was in Discord, in the Tuss Talk with Ty Discord. It was Quincy Rhodes, but he got up and he was walking off the field. That's a good sign. That's a very good sign. He's out for the next game too. He's out for the next first half. Unless they change that damn rule, he's out for the next first half, which is stupid if that's still the rule. That is the dumbest thing. That is so stupid. It's overkill. You know, if you wanted to say he has to set out, at least for the opening series on defense, okay, whatever. I still don't know that a penalty should supersede a single game, and then lead into the next game. That's so damn stupid. That's not how this should work. Yeah, that penalty is going to go into the next game. That's stupid, right? Yeah, they need to fix that. Running game was horrible. Got to do better next game. I agree. Running game was bad. Let's get into the numbers here. Again, KJ ended up 18-23, 246 yards, just under 11 yards per completion, 3 touchdowns. Jacoby Creswell, everybody, 2 for 2. It is so good. Don't you feel just a little bit better about backup quarterback? Just a little bit. Don't you feel a little bit better? 2 for 2 for 28 yards and a touchdown. Arkansas ends this game 20 for 25 for 274 yards, 4 touchdowns. Also consider this. How much of that play, and we talk about this every first game, this is the question. We just haven't brought it up here, but it bears repeating. How much of the playbook do they really open up, especially with only throwing the ball 25 times? I feel like Enos is going to want to throw the ball a little bit more than that. But 20 of 25, 274 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Running the ball, Rocket Sanders. Here's where things get a little mucky. 15 carries, 42 yards. If you had asked me, okay, Ty, one player is going to run the ball 15 times for 42 yards, I would have guessed like Dominic Johnson because he's got the knee brace still on. Maybe he's a little bit rusty. I would have guessed Dominic Johnson, maybe the freshman quarterback, Augustive, who we got to see. We got to see him today, 4 carries for 20 yards, 5 yards a carry. That's what I would have guessed, not Rocket. But if you look across the board, everyone else got about 5 yards a carry. I mean, including Dominic, but they didn't carry the ball even just 5 times outside of KJ. KJ ran the ball 5 times for just 11 yards. That's something we haven't seen before. KJ not running the ball 14, 15 times. 5 carries, 11 yards, and a touchdown. 36 total carries for 105 yards. Again, like I said earlier, that's under 3 yards a carry. 3 rushing touchdowns. Did we get another super chat? We did. $5 super chat. I can't pronounce that. Is that Birches? Birches? I don't know. Definitely need to clean up penalties. Yeah, definitely. I agree. Definitely need to clean up penalties, but we should be competitive in almost every game. Sideline energy was night and day from last year. I like that comment. That's a good one. That's a good observation, sir. That was good. Seeing the excitement on TJ Metcalf. How about TJ Metcalf, everybody? Huh? Oh my gosh, TJ Metcalf, the freshman, coming in hot, baby. You love to see it. I was so impressed by all the newbies looked really good. AJ Green, 4 carries, 22 yards. I like that we got to see Augusta, 4 carries, 20 yards. I've told you guys before, burn these red shirts. Burn them all. Now you've got 4 games, so now he's got 3 games left. We'll see what Sam decides to do with that. But, oh, my God, they have a stable of running backs. Rocket Sanders, A.J. Green, Rashad Dubinion, Dominic Johnson, and Isaiah Augustave, as I wanted to call him, but it's Augustive. You're loaded. And then you mix in K.J. Jefferson, who's that's so much weight being thrown at you. Okay, moving on to the receivers. I am so glad you guys got to see in a live action, in a game, we got to see the receivers do what I have seen through camp. I'm so glad we got to see some of that. Even though it was just a snippet, even though it was against, I know, broken record, bear with me, even though it was against a team that's not exactly anywhere near your level, okay, I'm so happy that we got to see that. We got to see them perform. We got to see them make some pretty great catches. Tislaw had 3 grabs, 66 yards. Andrew Armstrong, as I said yesterday, I said I thought Andrew Armstrong would probably be one of the favorite targets. He was 5 for 78 with a touchdown. Jaden Wilson with that 65-yarder. Centennial got in the mix a little bit. 2 catches, 14 yards. How about Dozier? Another freshman, bro. Another freshman. A catch with 14 yards for a touchdown. His first reception goes for 14 and 6. Luke Haas had a couple grabs for 19 yards. He was open. I thought he was open several more times. If KJ wanted to go with a dump-off throw with just like a quick check down, Haas really could have had probably closer to about 5 or 6 grabs. He ends up with 2 because these guys are open further downfield. All right, defensively, Thomas, linebacker, fantastic. I mean, this guy was all over the stat sheet. He had 8 tackles. He led the team in tackles. He had a pass breakup. They give him credit for a pass breakup, and he had 1.5 TFLs, tackles for loss. The freshman, J.I. Singletary, he had 6 tackles. I thought he did okay. There was a grab. There was a catch. God, don't ask me when. I want to say it was whenever. I think it was on the scoring drive for Western Carolina. He was on this guy tight. I mean, he was with that receiver, and the receiver just made a great catch. And someone texted me, I don't think Singletary's worth a damn. And I'm like, what? I mean, he was all over that guy. He was all over him like white on rice. What are you talking about? That was just a great grab. Of course, we know Pooh Paul got ejected, but he ended up with 5 tackles. Arkansas ends up this game with just 2 sacks. Now, here's the question. Were you concerned? What was more concerning to you? Arkansas, now they had 11, according to the ESPN, they had 11 TFLs. Now, keep in mind, they count the 1.5. So really, that's so weird when you're going into this to the statistics of it, but that's 1.5, meaning 2 guys got in on that same play, so they give them the 0.5, right? They give those guys credit. But what was more concerning for you? Was it the run blocking? Was it the penalties on special teams? They had 2, which I'm not going to go. You guys know I've been pretty hard on special teams. Centennial looked pretty good, didn't he? Centennial looked pretty good, baby. Faytown speed, that's what I'm talking about. But was it the penalties on special teams, or was it the lack of sacks by the Arkansas defense? So the run blocking, the flags on penalties. And the only reason why I bring that up is because that was a theme. That's been a theme as long as Scott Fountain has been here. He's got to be the most penalized special teams coordinator I've ever seen. So it's still there. I mean, I get it. There's a lot of newness. I don't really want to put it on them. I'm just kind of throwing it in there. But there were 2 penalties on special teams. This has been a theme for him for a while, but I'm just adding that. I don't know that it really is a concern because it's game 1. But what was more concerning to you, the overall pass rush or the run blocking? I feel like you're all going to say the same, which is the run blocking. What's up, Garrett? How you doing, man? Welcome. Big man Ross was at the game and got some stuff to clean up altogether. A good game. Now heading back home to Pine Bluff. We'll rewatch this later. Oh, okay. Well, thank you, big man Ross. I appreciate you, bro. IG Farbin says offensive line, defensive line did not play well. If run blocking means run game, then yes, run block. Well, what else, Mason? What else would it mean? Come on, Mason. You're killing me. Randy says run blocking. Christian Holt says they were throwing quick, a lot of little swing passes, hard to get sacks against that. Well, yeah, but there were several times that quarterback had all day to throw the ball. Ty, I'll trade 4 interceptions for a few sacks any day, he says, Mike. Bumble says defense was fine. Kenny Woodward, considering the offensive line was reshuffled with injuries, I was more disappointed with the pass rush. So Kenny's not concerned with the run blocking, with the run, with Arkansas not getting much going as far as just creating gaps. Okay, I like a differing point of view there. James Swope says run blocking, then the blocks in the back on special teams. They've got to clean up these penalties. That would be the other thing that is definitely concerning for me. That is something sometimes we've seen teams really struggle shaking that stuff off. Western Carolina had 3 penalties for 30 yards. Arkansas had 7 penalties for nearly 90 yards. Now listen, game 1, I'm going to say let's see how they do these next couple of games. But that is not very good. Arkansas didn't start off too good on third down. I think they were 1 for their first 5, I think it was. They ended up 6 of 13. They were 2 for 2 on fourth down. Total yards is a little bit of a head scratcher. Now, listen, that tends to happen when you're starting off at midfield. Keep that in mind. I don't know what Arkansas's average start was. I don't know where their average start was on the field, but it didn't seem like there were very many drives where they were starting from the 25 because of Centenia's returns, because of forced turnovers by the defense. I'm not concerned about that 379 total. Yeah, you'd probably like to see 450, 500. You probably would against someone like this. But they had, again, the penalties, plays called back. You had that snap that went over. I don't know what really happened. KJ, I don't know if that was a timing between the center and KJ. I don't know what that was between Bo and the quarterback there. But whatever, KJ, jumped on the ball, and that was obviously a huge loss, and that was a drive killer. You had some drive killers. So really, you just had a lot of self-inflicted wounds, or you probably would have been closer to 500 yards of total offense. But just for the stat, folks, really the only stat that matters is what? What's the only stat that matters, ladies and gentlemen? It's the score, 56-13. I think you're okay with that. They had 291 total yards of offense. How often does Arkansas keep opponents under 300 yards? It's good to see that, They were 25 of 40 through the air, talking about Western Carolina, and 5 turnovers. So 4 interceptions and a fumble. That'll do it to you, huh? Paul says the W. That's the only thing that matters. I mean, and I'm that guy too. I like looking at the numbers. I am a numbers guy. But you also have to take into consideration just how things happened, and of course the final score. Hey, Ty, I think WCU sold out on stopping the run. I agree, Doug. I agree. Sammy talked about penalties in our fall camp scrimmage, though. Not sure what we need to do, but the targeting and hit out of bounds was poor discipline. Good thing is they're all fixable. Yeah, well, at Friday's show, you may not have been there. You might be new to the channel. I don't recognize your name, but I do appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe. That'd be awesome. And like and share. I did say yesterday this was something that was concerning in practice. I said this. I've said this multiple times. Penalties stood out to me in fall camp. And it reared its head today. Now, the good news is, like you said, and I agree 110%. That's a good comment. They can clean these up, and I think they will clean these up. So, again, this is all manageable, fixable stuff. Imagine if they'd gone out and made half the mistakes. You're talking about 60-plus points. Okay, this team, there's nothing that happened today that's taking me off my 9-3 prediction. Nothing. I'm not going to say it emboldened it because, again, it's Western Carolina, but there's nothing about this game where I'm going, nope, they're not going 9-3. I'm coming down to 8-4, 7-5. No. I still feel pretty confident in my 9-3. My confidence is exactly where it was yesterday. Just subbed, new here. Hey, appreciate you, of course. Arkansas weather watchers. Boy, we got a lot of weather, folks. I appreciate you guys. Got some concerns regarding offensive line. Honestly, but overall, pretty good game. This will come together, clean up over the coming weeks. I agree. Thank you, Arkansas weather watchers. I love the weather peeps, man. I'm not going to lie. I go to you guys. I go to all the weather folks on Twitter, the local folks. You know, that's who it's never a good thing, though, when they're in your town. That's never a good thing. That's never a good thing because it's like, well, shit. They're in my town. That's not good. You guys remember that shirt? Bomb, what was it? Bomb detector. If you see me running, try and keep up or whatever. It's got that same kind of energy. Federal bomb inspector, whatever. Those are great. I'd rather have all these flags with a blowout than a conference game. Needs to be cleaned up. I agree. Got here late. Has Ty discussed our O-line yet? Yeah, we've been talking about that quite a bit. Remember, our best offensive line was out. Yeah, and we talked about that too. They were without Brady Latham. I don't know. Is he your best? No, that might be. I don't know. And that is something to keep in mind. Spence had the pick six, did he not? He did. That was great. Spence did. How about that, man? The freshman showing up, making plays. You got to love it. You got to appreciate it. TJ Metcalf, four tackles. Pretty sure he had did he have the forced fumble? Or did he have what was it, fumble recovery? I don't remember. He was in on the play. Hang on, let me pull it up here. I know it's down here somewhere. I feel like he had the forced fumble. Well, of course, they're not going to show it on ESPN. Need to pull up just the Razorbacks official stat sheet. That would be better. Yeah. DJ says he had the recovery. Okay. My defensive MVP is Jaden Johnson. What about y'all? Really? Jaden Johnson. I'm going to go with Thomas. If you had me to pick, I'm going to go Thomas. He had a 1.5 tackles for loss, pass deflection, or pass defended, whatever, and 8 tackles. He led the game in tackles. I'm going to go with Thomas. Offensive MVP has got to be KJ, right? I mean, I don't think it's any contest. 18-23, 246 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, 4 total touchdowns, 5 carries for 11 yards. I liked what little bit you guys got to see out of Tesla. Andrew Armstrong leading. He led in receptions. Yeah, very. You got to be pleased with what you saw at the very least. Again, Western Carolina with 291 total yards of offense. Arkansas had 379 for you stat hogs. But I think the 20 of 25 total pass completions or pass completions out of attempts, that's pretty good. Wilson led the whole lot with receiving yards, 3 catches for 83 yards in the touchdown. And again, Arkansas went 6 of 13 on third down, 2 for 2 on fourth down. Return game is good. Return game is going to win a game this year. I'm telling you, man, Centennia's it. Centennia is it, bro. Really liked what I saw out of him in the return game. Kenny Woodward says, all being equal, to have 2 new coordinators and also have the first game in Little Rock, I viewed the game positively overall. Granted, there are plenty of things need to clean up. Yeah. Yeah, no tight end direct snaps either today, huh? All right, that is going to do it. I'll be back Monday. I'm guessing 11 a.m. So if you guys, if you're new here, I try to do at least 2 live shows, maybe 3 a week. Typically, it was Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I don't know what Wednesday looks like right now. We've got kind of a shakeup in the Hudson household just because of just different stuff going on. But I'm hoping to be live at least 3 days next week. So I appreciate you. Again, if you're new, make sure you sub, like, share, and all that stuff. Patreon supporters, I really do appreciate you guys. Here's some links. If you guys want to join and you want to help out the channel, you want to help out, there you go. There's Discord if you want to join, and there's Patreon if you guys want to join that as well. But I do appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out Pigpen. Appreciate you got that pinned comment, man. Good job. You go Pigpen. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Shout out to sponsors, Patreon supporters. All links are provided for you down below as well for those of you who are watching after the fact. Also appreciate the super chats. I'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of your college football is here weekend, week 1. You guys enjoy it. I'll see you next week.